Profits Nation. I am Suzanne. I'm the acceleration coach here in PPIP as well as foundations. And I'm going to be bringing you today the tactic that's working now. One of the things that we've been talking about a lot internally is accountability, not only for ourselves, but also for our clients, and teaching them how to build accountability into their offers to serve their own clients. We've seen some challenges recently with our clients being frustrated because their clients are, purchasing their programs, but then not doing the work. They're not showing up for calls. They're not showing up to watch the videos they're not doing any of the things that they're supposed to be doing in order to get the result that that our client promised, right? So we certainly are no stranger to that as well. That's a perennial issue in all forms of this industry. When you're relying on people have a tendency to do people things, right? We have a tendency to forget. We have a tendency to get lazy. We have a tendency to get over busy or distracted. And the shiny object that we were excited about and we purchased, your program, in the bright light of day, suddenly we don't know that we have time, or we don't know that it's going to actually serve the purpose, or we get intimidated, or we do a lot of different things. We just get busy, and we forget our login. We forget we even bought that program. It's been so long since I logged in, I forgot I even had it, kind of thing. So why is this an issue? Well, first things first, the client successes are how we determine whether or not our program is successful, right? That's how we get testimonials. It's how we get referrals from their friends. It's how we get them to be so happy with us, be so happy with their progress, that they buy the next thing we offer for them, or they buy a continuation of our program, or they buy a next higher level of service. So ascending them into new products is a really important piece. But if they don't ever do the first program, they're not going to have good testimonials. They're not going to refer us to their friends if they even remember our name. And they're certainly not going to buy then the next thing because they didn't succeed in the first thing. And that's only partly our responsibility, right? We can lead a horse to water. We can't necessarily force them to drink. We can't necessarily go knock on our clients' doors all around the world and say, why aren't you showing up for our one-on-one coaching call? Why aren't you showing up for the group calls? Why haven't you submitted your offer yet? We can't, we can't practically do that. What we can do is build in some strategic places in our program that enables accountability to be baked in from the get-go. So let me show you what that could look like. Here in the one-on-one coaching that we do inside of Basecamp, some of the things that we do are assigning to-dos. Some of you maybe already familiar with that, getting assigned to-dos, and having a fixed date that is probably about 7 days out. That's kind of our standard, unless it's a bigger piece, or there's extenuating circumstances. But it's building in that process of what are you supposed to be working on right now. And if you're allowing any of the other shiny objects around you to distract, recognize that those are not important. This is what's next on your list. Let's do this. And sometimes it is a lot like holding our feet to the fire to force us to do all of the details in order to finally finish the work. It can be really intimidating building out an offer, or building a landing page, or doing sales calls, or building an organic outreach method. It can be intimidating. And because it's intimidating, it's easy for us to try to push away and go do something different, go do something easier, because the hard thing is the painful thing, even though that's the most important thing. So by using these to-dos, that has helped to force our clients to at least acknowledge what they're supposed to be working on right now. And then they have to recognize, am I doing that? Or have I allowed my attention to be distracted? Have I allowed myself to lose focus? And then we, the coaches, can say, why? What are you afraid of? What is intimidating to you right now? So that we can help nip those things in the bud now in the early stages of business development rather than later. I don't want to be ghosted by a client for months on end, wondering if they'll ever come back into the program. I want to help them move through the process and be successful. And I know that you do too for your clients. So by building in these structured pathways, it can really help you to know how to navigate your client, but it can also help your client to know where those guardrails are, where those boundaries are. And that can give them a sense of safety that enables them to have the courage to do the hard things. It's hard work to change your diet, to exercise more. It's hard work to learn a new skill like copywriting. It's hard, it's painful, and we don't always like it. But by building in this structured to-do list, that can really help to keep people moving forward and with a sense that they're successful. I'm checking things off my list. I am making progress. It may not feel like it, but I am making progress. And so I will keep persevering. And sometimes it's just that mindset that's all the shift that our clients need. Another thing is utilizing asynchronous communication. Things like chat, things like being able to do Looms or audio recordings and send those to our clients, especially without the perpetual reliance on Zoom calls, on the face-to-face. We got accustomed to that immediately after COVID, and now it seems like we can't function unless we have a Zoom call. But the reality is that, that could be a week or 2 weeks out, depending on someone's calendar. It can be, it's still only short-lived. And so sometimes when you get on somebody's calendar and your Zoom isn't scheduled till next week, that can kind of give the client permission to not do anything until the Zoom call. And that's the opposite of what we want. So by utilizing these asynchronous communication styles, you could also use things like Voxer or Telegram or different things like that. There's a wide range of them. Even in Facebook, you can be using Messenger and some of these free platforms as well. All of these things, what they do is they allow you to answer the client quickly without tying up a lot of your time and energy. So by adding in these communication pathways, you can actually get your clients moving faster because you're able to answer their questions without them having to wait a whole week to get a spot on your calendar. And without you having to be stuck on endless calls day after day after day, answering the same things over and over again. Another thing that we did was we started initiating some onboarding calls with our foundations clients. We saw that as they were coming in, because this was designed to be a base camp only, a group coaching model only program, because it is a much lower price point than our implementations program, we didn't have any one-on-one calls to begin with. But what we found was it was very difficult for us coaches to make that initial connection, build trust with our new client. And so we started adding in an onboarding call, getting them oriented in Basecamp, helping them understand when the group coaching calls are and what steps they need to be taking next. And all of that, we're seeing the results of it as our clients are getting engaged more quickly. Just because we're doing one additional 30-minute call at the start of their 6-month program. We don't need to do additional calls beyond the group coachings. but just that one 30-minute onboarding call has proven to be so very useful in the long run. And then the same thing with our implementations clients. We've increased the frequency of one-on-one calls. And so now those fall about every 30 days to make sure that they're staying on track, while also we still have the Basecamp flexibility to be talking on a near daily basis. So some of those communication methods have been really useful to be able to increase our their access to us and our ability to keep them moving forward. Another thing is balancing out that communication approach. Having the asynchronous tools along with scheduled calls ensures that clients are able to feel that support in a way that suits their needs, that suits their schedule, but most importantly, holds them accountable to have done something, right? Before you get on the call with me, you want to be able to say, I've done this, I'm moving forward, what's next? That's the point of the call. What have I accomplished? What is next on the agenda? And then creating a customized onboarding process can also really help to ensure that your clients are making the best use of all of the things that you have for them, all of the tools that you have for them. So making sure that they understand what those tools are, where they're located, how to access them, what to do if they can't access, or if something falls apart, what are they supposed to be doing? That can, it just creates such a sense of security within your program that, oh, okay, I don't know the pathway in this program, but they do, and now they're giving me the guide map to get me to where I need to go. That can give your client so much sense of safety and of support that they will actually begin to walk through that process, because they're not automatically overwhelmed and intimidated immediately. And also creating exercises for them to turn in. So we've created things like conversation tracking sheets, making sure that our clients are tracking the things that they're doing and then submitting that back to us so that we have evidence of what they're doing. And if they're doing podcasts and saying, okay, well, I'm not getting calls on my podcast from my podcast episodes. Okay, submit me a recording. Let me hear exactly what you're saying so that I can help you strengthen your response and get those client calls. So by creating those exercise opportunities, you have the opportunity, first of all, to check their work, make sure that they're learning what you want them to be learning. And if they're not, you can find that out quickly and be able to correct it. And then sometimes if you see a pattern that clients are coming through and they're missing a singular point, they're missing something specific in your training, you can go back and add that into your training for future people, so that you have a separate and distinct video that addresses exactly that. And you can bridge that gap quickly and be ever strengthening, ever broadening your program so that it's even more useful to your clients time after time after time. Creating exercises for your clients are really, really important. As well, it also demonstrates whether or not they are going to do the work. Because if you have any kind of guarantee, if they fail to turn in their exercises and you've set those as a requirement, then that gives you leverage to not give refunds, because you can honestly say, well, you didn't do any of the work. You showed up, you paid, and then you disappeared. You didn't do any of the work, so you voided the guarantee. I didn't void it. You voided it because you didn't do the work. That gives you so much leverage to be able to hold your own clients accountable to show up for themselves. And building that in on the front end is such a great protection for you, and makes it easier for you to be able to offer money back guarantees, or guarantees if they don't hit certain revenue goals or different things like that. And also making sure that you're understanding your client's needs, making sure that you're tailoring it to what each individual client needs, but without it having to be a hyper individualized program. Like that can still be, it can still be kind of broad scale while still meeting the various client needs, right? We as individuals are there's a variety of learning styles. We're visual, or else we're auditory, or else we're kinetic, which is a hands-on kind of learner. So having the three different methods within your trainings can really help you to make sure that you're meeting those client needs on every level. So the video trainings, the audio recordings, those things can be really helpful if you're a visual or an auditory learner. And if you're a kinetic learner, then what you need are exercises, or hands-on practical work in order to begin implementing these things. So whether that's worksheets that go along with it, whether that's practice exercises like what we just talked about, those things can be really helpful for a kinetic learner to be able to begin implementing what you've been teaching them. And so setting clear expectations, whether they're checking in, whether they're completing their exercises on time, completing their homework assignments, setting those clear expectations can be really powerful to help you establish the place of authority, where you're not chasing after the client. They're coming to you because they're ready for the next piece of their assignment. They're ready for the next step. And then maintaining that momentum, making sure that consistent conversational feedback loop is ongoing, that you're not just reaching out and checking in, but that they're actually responding to you and letting you know what things are going on in their lives. Doing things like weekly submissions or weekly responses can be really helpful. It can be overwhelming if you have a wide range of clients, absolutely. But also it can be helpful to keep those clients engaged, or to begin to weed out the ones who are going to, who are not going to be successful in your program because they're not going to do the work. They're not going to engage. One of our things over in our Done For You program is we have begun setting some really strict timelines on deliverables and their review process, so that the client knows exactly what we're working on at any given time. They know what the process should look like and how long it should take. So that helps to free us up, because we're not having to answer client questions like, well, when will this be ready? Well, what are you working on now? Well, I plan to get that to you in next week. And they can then know that, well, the fact that you're not getting that to me till next week means that I'm going to have to delay my deliverables. I'm going to have to delay working on your funnel because I have to have all of the materials. So it gives you a sense of timeline and framework that can be a helpful negotiating piece with your clients, especially in a Done For You setting. Requiring the clients to give us updates on their KPIs, their outreach, their call metrics, allows for us to be able to help them in an ongoing way to determine the effectiveness of what we built for them, and also, are you using it? Are you using it well? We can build all of this stuff and hand it over, but then if you don't actually put it to use, then not only is it not working for you, but it also is not a good testimonial for us. We have to ensure that our work is being used correctly, or else we can't even show that we did the work, because it's not working, right? But that's not our fault. But nevertheless, we still can't use it as a testimonial. So ensuring that our clients are using it well and are equipped, when we hand over a funnel where they're equipped to use it wisely, that creates that opportunity for testimonials, for referrals, and for ascensions later on by that same client. So these are just some things that we wanted to talk about in this tactic that's working right now. Understanding that accountability is one of the most important pieces to having your own business, but you can absolutely build that into your offer from the get-go. And we strongly recommend that you do. So hopefully these have been helpful for you, and that it gives you some ideas of ways that you can build accountability into your own offers. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye for now.